Everyone, welcome back to another interesting episode of Azure Back to School series. Azure Back to School is an annual event for the community by the community. Thanks you so much, Dan Natwick, for providing this opportunity to present in this prestigious platform. Today, I'll be presenting about chat with your own data using Azure OpenAI platform. Before we start, let me introduce myself. I am Janathan Selvaraj. I am a Microsoft AI MVP as well as I'm a Microsoft certified trainer and Microsoft Learn expert. I used to contribute for blogs, articles, the tech talks in C# MVP Corner, and I'm a top voice in artificial intelligence as well as machine learning platform. So currently I'm holding 13 plus Microsoft Azure certifications. I'm a speaker, mentor, as well as blogger. If you have any questions related to Microsoft Azure platform as well as the artificial intelligence, please reach out to my social handle. So I have mentioned my social handle, the LinkedIn handle on this slide. If you want any questions, please reach out to me. So let's get started. The agenda for today: what is Azure OpenAI? The Azure OpenAI Studio, the types of various generative models, and how to chat with your own data with respect to Azure OpenAI platform. Then finally, we'll discuss about the responsible AI as well as ethical AI best practices. First, what is this Azure OpenAI? Azure OpenAI is a Azure AI service used to build your own copilot and any generative AI applications. If you want to build it, you can make use of the Azure OpenAI services. So in order to build your own applications with the help of your Azure OpenAI, you should know about the various generative AI models which are present as part of this platform. Let's see what are the various models of Azure OpenAI. Under Azure OpenAI, we have four model categories are available: GPT 3.5, GPT 4, and the new versions of GPTs are GPT 4o, GPT 4o mini, and we have ChatGPT, Codex. The last one is the DALL-E 2 platform, or it could be DALL-E 3. With respect to GPT 3.5 and GPT 4, the input will be in the form of a text and the response could be in the format of text, or it could be your images, or it could be an audio, or it could be in the video form. If you want to build any conversational AI experiences, you can make use of the ChatGPT platform. And in Codex, the user started crafting the prompt in terms of text, and we will be expecting result in your code format. The code could be of any language code. It could be a Python, it could be a Java, it could be a C#, or it could be of any format of language, programming language, what you're expecting in your code generation platform. Similarly, for your DALL-E platform, if you notice that DALL-E is typically used whenever user providing the prompt in text, and the response we will be expecting in the format of images, which is DALL-E 2, and the latest version of DALL-E is DALL-E 3. Let's see some examples to it. The generative AI models example. You can notice here, there is a prompt says that write a tagline for an ice cream shop. So here the prompt is in the text format and we are looking for the response in again a text only. In your chat GPT, the prompt is again a text and you are looking for the response is also a text, which is nothing but any conversational AI experiences or else any type of communication you want to build between the human being and the assistants, you can make use of your chat GPT. Similarly, your Codex platform, users started providing the text, and we will be expecting the result in terms of a code format. So in this example, there is a table named as customers. We have columns like customer ID, first name, last name, company, city, address, state, city. So we are expecting a prompt says that write a SQL query for all the customers in text as named Jan. So the entire natural language format in English, it is now going to convert into an SQL format. So the destination language should be in SQL format only. Similarly, for DALL-E application, user will be providing the text and the response will be in the image format. Let's see that. So in order to use this generative AI platform, we will be using the service known as Azure OpenAI. How to provision Azure OpenAI resource? In order to provision Azure OpenAI resource, you have to click Azure OpenAI services. I'm going to hit the button create. The very first details you require subscription, and you have to create a new resource group. I'm having the already existing resource group test RG. Which region you are about to deploy this Azure OpenAI service, you have to provide it. Let me provide as East to yes. And we have to provide some name of the Azure OpenAI services. So I'm giving test retail sample. And you have to choose which pricing tier you want to deploy this Azure OpenAI service. Let me deploy the pricing tier as standard pricing tier. And you have to provide next, next, next. And you can deploy this resource. The deployment will hardly take 2 minutes of time. Once the deployment is completed, you'll be able to create an Azure OpenAI resource within a minutes of time. So I have already provisioned the Azure OpenAI resource named as Retail Chat OpenAI Azure. You can click this. And under the overview section, there is an option known as Go to Azure OpenAI Studio. If you redirect this, this will be redirecting to a separate tab, Azure OpenAI Studio. In this Azure OpenAI Studio, you can see there are various playgrounds that are available. There are some of the playgrounds are still in the preview phase. Example, GPT-4o 2024. This particular model still in the preview. And if you want to get any of the early access, you can get the early access as well. So we have a chat playground, assistant playground, bring your own data, completion playground, DALL-E playground. DALL-E assistants and early access playgrounds are still in preview, but the rest of the playgrounds are in the general available mode. So let me click the completion playground now. So under the completion playground, we have created the deployment already. So in order to create any service model with respect to the Azure OpenAI platform, the first step you have to create a deployment. How to create a deployment is click deployment, create new deployment. You can type some deployment name and you'll able to choose a model, whether you want DALL-E 2, 3, GPT-3 Turbo, GPT-4, GPT-4o, GPT-4o Mini, whether it is a small large language model or a small language model in terms of embedding models. So these are the ways to choose the models after the deployment is created successfully. Let me use the playground is known as completion playground. So this time, what I'm going to use it is, let me use natural language to SQL. So in this format, if you notice, we have three tables: employee, department, salary underscore payment, and the respective column names are available. So here user started typing the query is a query to list name of the departments which employed more than 10 employees in the last 3 months. Even though you are a pre-sales person, you are not aware about anything on the SQL front, but still you'll be able to write the prompt in the natural language. I'm going to hit this generate button. When I started hit this generate button, the corresponding response will be printed in the format of SQL. For this service, how much of input token it is consuming? It is 75 as an input token it is consuming. When I say token limit, the input token generation and output token generation. Input token, one input token equal to 4 characters. Let's see how much of output token it is consuming for this use case. Just hit this generate button. Now the entire natural language, it is now converted into the SQL format. For this particular purpose, the input token charge was 75 tokens. After I hit this one, how much of token it is consumed for output is 156, which means double the time of your input token. That's your output token consumption charges are applicable with respect to your specific regions. Let me try with one more example related to DALL-E Playground. I'm going to click DALL-E Playground. So in this DALL-E Playground, you can choose either DALL-E 2 or you may be able to choose DALL-E 3. If I choose DALL-E 3, the deployment will be automatically deployed under the deployment section. If you see the deployment section, there is a model known as DALL-E 3 which has been deployed successfully. Let me click this DALL-E again. So you can type your own prompt, and typing a prompt says that an astronaut wearing gold jumpsuit and helmet on moon. So for this prompt, if I hit this generate button, the image it is about to generate it. Since we have created the DALL-E deployment a minute ago, it will take hardly 5 minutes time to make that particular deployment reflection in the playground. So meanwhile, what we will do, we'll go to the chat playground. This is nothing but the chat GPT of Azure OpenAI Playground. Let's execute some of the commands related to chat GPT and say hello. So it has started providing the responses. Then what I will do next is write a tagline for ice cream shop. So this is a prompt I have provided now. Write a tagline for an ice cream shop. So immediately it is given the response, indulge in scoop of happiness or cool treats of for every craving. So this is related to your ChatGPT Playground. Similarly, in ChatGPT Playground, if you're typing questions which are related to an unethical manner, like how to make an atom bomb, if you are started typing such type of prompt, it is immediately thrown the content safety error in terms of severity. So this is a violence severity. So we have various type of severities like violence, self-harm, sexual hate. These four severity levels belongs to the Azure AI content safety levels. So you cannot type such type of unethical way of providing responses or else any questions to the chat playground, because this chat playgrounds ensures that all Azure content safety policy, it is adhering to the principles and it is strictly violated such type of responses. So as of now, we discussed so far completion playground, chat playground, and let's see the DALL-E playground. For this same prompt, I'm going to hit this. So still the 5 minutes time is not done, right? So you can see this API deployment for this resource does not exceed because your deployment are within the last 5 minutes. So what I will do, I will refresh this. After I refreshed this, let's see this again. Hopefully the image started generating it now. Did you notice the images started generating? It is a succeeded as well. So we got the response. Look at this response. An astronaut wearing gold jumpsuit and helmet on the moon. We got the responses. Suppose if this response, the image which has been generated, which you are not satisfied, again, you can regenerate a new image. That is also possible. If you want to copy the prompt, you can copy the prompt. If you want to download this image to your local, you can download this. So that is possible to download your local option also. Then if you want to delete this image, you can delete this. If you want to delete this prompt, I'll delete this image. If you want to know the code, you just click for show code. There are two important essential information is required. One is the endpoint, the another one is the key. Line number 14, if you notice that, under client.images.generate, we are passing three parameters. One is the model name, second one is the prompt, and third one is nothing but n. N is nothing but the number of images to be generated. When it's one, then one image will be generated for this prompt. Likewise, you can use this sample code in your application deployment as well. So far what we have discussed is we discussed about early access playground, chat playground, completion playground, DALL-E playground. Some of the playgrounds still in the preview section, which is not yet general available. So our topic for the day is chat with your own data using the Azure OpenAI Studio. How to chat with your own data with respect to your Azure OpenAI Studio. In order to perform this, we require the three important services like what are services we require? Number one, just go to the platform known as bring your own data. This bring your own data, it is a text generation model. So in order to use this bring your own data with respect to the text generation model, first of all, you require what are your FAQs, what is your sample document, which document you are going to upload it, what are files you require, because that is your knowledge base. Knowledge base is a repository where you will be creating the frequently asked questions, your FAQs, your policy document, product manual, user manual related to a product, related to a services which are placed and stored inside your knowledge base only. First, make your knowledge base prepared and it is to be ready to deploy. After the step, for this, you will be creating a storage account. First, create a storage account. Inside the storage account, you may have your storage container. When I say the container, it is a blob storage. Inside the blob storage, start uploading all the documents, start uploading all the files related to your knowledge base. After you are done that, you need to search those documents whenever user started asking a question. It has to search it and it will be fetching from the indexes and the responses will be generated accordingly. So for that, you require a Azure AI search as well. So three resources you have to provision. Number one, storage account. So in order to create a storage account, what you are supposed to do, let me tell you. Let me open the Azure portal in one more URL. I open it. In this, we'll create. Already we provisioned the Azure OpenAI resource. This is done. Let me create a resource known as storage account. Storage account, click storage account. Storage account. Create a storage account. So we have to provide subscription, resource group, and you need to give the storage account name, which region you want to deploy the storage, then what type of performance, whether you want the standard performance or premium performance, and you can choose the redundancy like Geo redundant, LRS, GRS, then EZRS or GZRS, whichever option you want, you can choose it. And finally, you hit Review plus Create button. So this is the way you will be creating a storage account. After the storage account is created successfully, so we have created a storage account known as Retail Storage Data Account. Under this, there is a section known as Data Storage. Click Container, and you can create your own container with the help of plus symbol. After this, what we will do is we need to upload all the files in your respective container. So I have uploaded all the files with respect to the retail container. So we will complete the second task also. What is the first task is create a storage account. Under the storage account, you will be creating a container. Inside the container, you will start uploading all the files, all the FAQs, policy document, product manual, or it could be user manual. Once the files are uploaded successfully, what is the second step you have to do it is, again you have to type Azure AI search. This is a search service we are going to create it. Click create. Under Azure AI search, you have to choose a resource group, provide the name of your search service, location, and the pricing tier. So there's a way to create a Azure search service. After this is completed successfully, then the next step is your Azure OpenAI resource. So we know already the Azure OpenAI resource which has been created successfully and it is deployed as well. So now three major important tasks are completed. One is Azure OpenAI is done, your storage account is done, your container is created, your Azure AI search service is created. After this, let's go to the prompt of the Azure OpenAI Studio. Under that, click bring your own data. When you click bring your own data part, there is a section known as add your data. Clicks add your data. Then afterwards, there is an option known as add data source. You have to click add data source. After you click the add data source, it will allow us to choose which data source you want to use it, whether it is a blob storage or whether it could be upload your own files or it could be Cosmos data storage, whatever the data storage is, which is going to list, we will be choosing either upload files or else we will be using Azure blob storage under the data source. So in this case, what we have chosen is we have chosen the Azure Blob Storage Preview as a data source. Under this, choose your subscription, which blob storage resource you have provisioned it, choose that, followed by the storage container and your Azure AI search resource. Then we have to provide the index name and how many times you want to schedule this index, whether you want to schedule the index once or daily. So whichever option are available in terms of index that schedule, you can choose it. So in our case, what I've done is we will be choosing the data source of this index once only, not daily. We have chosen one because I'm going to run the chat with your own data is your enterprise data with respect to the indexer schedule. Then after this option, we will choose the next is you have to acknowledge this particular option because the search AI account will have an incurring cost because whatever the data user started searching from the knowledge bases, it is uses Azure AI search to fetch it and the results will be generated or the responses will be generated based on that only. So you have to hit the next button. After you hit the next button, here the search type it will ask whether you want a keyword search or you want a semantic search. When I say keyword search, in the keyword search, there will be no citation information. It's just a searching technique only. There is a keyword search. But you go for semantic search, even though the question is not there in the uploaded document, it will try to find the context of that question and it provides the citation information in terms of search type semantic. Then afterwards, you hit review plus create. Before you create the review plus create option, now in a new part of this bring your own data, they will ask you to choose whether what type of authentication type you want. Whether you want the authentication type is API key burst or else your system managed identity. Don't choose a system managed identity because you will get a problem related to the role-based access control. If you choose system managed entity, use the key, Azure keys and endpoint. That way, if you have started choosing it, you will not face any problem in terms of bringing your own data to your Azure OpenAI playground. After this, now you can see that the ingestion is in progress. It will take hardly 5 minutes time to make your ingestion successful. Once your ingestion is successful, what is the next step is, you can see the injection has done successfully. Then there is an option known as deploy to. Okay. So in the previous versions of bring your own data deploy to, you can see only two options. Either you can deploy this application to a new web application, or else you can deploy this application to your Copilot. Now, there is a new option it is added known as you can deploy this application in new Teams channel as a separate option also. Let me show that as well. I'm going to the prompt again. So in this, you can click the bring your own data. Under bring your own data section, yeah. So this is the option I just now spoken so far. Like you have to choose a resource data source, like it could be Azure AI search, blob, or it could be a Cosmos DB, or it could be a URL, or it could be a upload files. You can choose it accordingly. For example, if I choose upload files or else Azure Blob Storage, I'll choose this. So already we have provisioned it. Let me choose it again. Just you have to choose the resource group and subscription, choose a container and choose the Azure AI resource. Then afterwards, which container you want, you can choose a container, provide the index name. So I'm providing the index name as AZ Chat app and the indexer schedule, whether you want choose once, hourly, daily. So I'll choose only once, then next. So what type of search type you want, whether you want semantic search, whether you want keyword search, I'll choose semantic search now. Next. So this is a very important part, like what is your authentication type you want, whether you want system assigned manage entity you want, or else you want API key. I'll choose API key because system assigned managed identity, this is going to use having a problem related to the role-based access control. It is always better to use API key. Once it is done, you can click review plus finish. So after you finish review plus finish, the ingestion is in progress. It will take hardly 5 minutes time to make the particular injection to be successful. Once it is successful, you can see there is an option known as deploy to. Under deploy to section, there will be various options that are available. In the initial time, we have only two options, either new web app or it could be a Copilot option. Now the new feature, they mention it as you can deploy this application in your new team channel as well. But that particular option is still in the preview state. So we have to wait for the general available state so that you can make this particular deployment successful even in the new teams channel as well. So for this application, what I have done is I have deployed this application in the new web app service. When I say new web app service, what are steps we have to follow? So under the new web app services, we have followed the steps like we have created a new web application, choose a subscription, the resource group, location, which pricing plan you want, whether you want free tier, basic or standard, choose your pricing plan accordingly and ensure that all these application, the moment you started using, it will have the Azure AI search incurring cost that will be enabled by default and hit the deploy button. The moment you hit the deploy button, the deployment application of the web will start at it. And this will hardly take almost 7 minutes time to launch your web applications. Once you launch your web application, there is a button called as launch web app. Then it will ask a certain permission like whether you want to provide a permission for your respective web application, you have to provide your consent. So I have given the permission requested. So which email ID I'm using is I'm using my own personal email ID. You have to provide your permissions to your respective user. After this, immediately you'll get an information saying that authentication not configured. After your web application has been launched successfully, you have to wait hardly 15 minutes time or 10 to 15 minutes time to make this particular application successful. Okay. So you will be getting these error information. Don't worry. You will wait for 10 to 15 minutes. then immediately your application will be deployed like this. Okay. So I'll show you that on the screen. So I have already deployed this application under the Azure AI Studio. Azure AI Studio is a one area, or it is all your playgrounds will be available in one stop playground, which consists of your vision, language, document intelligence. All your playgrounds will be available in one umbrella, which is known as Azure AI Studio. Under the Azure AI Studio, the same chat playground I have chosen. So I choose the indexes, storage accounts, search service. All these things are already provisioned under the parameters tab. So in terms of deployment, you can see there are three ways of deploying this. Either you can do web app, or else your new Copilot in the Copilot Studio, or else you can do it in the new Teams app as well. So when you click this launch button, the launch, the web application will take hardly 10 to 15 minutes time. Once it is done, the screen says that your application has been deployed successfully. It is ready to launch. So example, I'm asking, what is property and casualty insurance? So this question I'm asking now. So immediately it will started checking the documents. It is started checking all the knowledge bases. Then you will get the option. Let me refresh it again. Because it will take some 10 to 15 minutes time to reflect in the respective platform. I'll refresh it. Now let me ask hi. So we are waiting for the responses. Let's see. So we got the response also. Let me ask a question. What is detectable? So it has started fetching the responses from the uploaded document, which is a knowledge base. So we got the response successfully. That says deductible is the amount you pay out of your pocket before your insurance coverage begins. So this is a citation. There is a citation information has been generated. So which document it got referred. So we got such type of information, which is nothing but your generative AI. In generative AI, we got the citation information gets printed. So successfully, we created the deployment of bring your own data with respect to the Azure OpenAI Playground, and we launched this application in a separate web app. So any type of questions you want to start asking, you can ask your generative AI chatbot to make it easier manner. And also it is providing the most relevant responses from the uploaded documents. So let's come to the last part of the section known as the responsible AI. So whenever you started using the generative AI application development, there are two important governance principles you are supposed to follow. One is known as the responsible AI. The another one is known as the ethical AI. When it comes to responsible AI, you have to adhere to the six principles, fairness. So whenever you are started doing your generative AI application development project, you should not take any biased decision. You have to treat each and everyone in your team members equally, and don't take any bias within them in terms of any type of decisions you are making. That is your fairness principle. Reliability and safety. Your data is your data. Your data resides inside the tenant. The data is not going outside. And privacy and security, the keys are encrypted. It has generated key 1 and key 2. Every 30 days once you are going to regenerate a key in terms of privacy and security. Inclusiveness, in terms of any team members is having hearing problem or else visually challenged people, you also treat them in an equal manner. Don't treat them like they have some challenges, they will not do that. Don't do like that. You have to treat them in an equal manner in terms of inclusiveness principle, transparency. You have to be very transparent in terms of your decision making systems, and accountability. Everyone in the team is accountable for your GenAI application development. It's not about the single individual. So this responsible AI principle as well as the ethical AI principle you have to follow whenever you are building any type of application development in the generative AI platform. In terms of ethical AI, so ethical AI is clearly defined with your guidelines. Example, the individual rights, privacy, no discrimination in terms of data, no manipulation in terms of data. And some of the best practices of ethical AI says that so whenever you are started taking the data privacy section, ensure that the data is encrypted against your SSL principles. So that is one of the best practices. And always use multi-factor authentication. Don't trust anybody outside any applications, any type, in any form of uh, thoughts. It could be multi-factor authenticated, and anyone who's joined in the team, don't provide the contributor access, give them only the view access. So that is known as follow the principle of least privilege. In terms of personal identifiable information as well as protected health information, mask your data before you start using in your application. And the very important principle, if your team member has encountered any threat or malicious code or any virus, in that cases, immediately they have to react and they have to respond to the responsible AI team. They will take the necessary actions. So these are some of the best practices of your ethical AI stuff. So let me summarize what we have discussed the entire session with respect to chat with your own data. So we started with Azure OpenAI services provision. Then we moved on to the types of generative AI models along with the respective hands-on, like we discussed about chat playground, DALL-E playground, we discussed about the completion playground, and we discussed about bring your own data playground. Afterwards, ensure all your knowledge bases and the policy document, product manual, user manual will be ready. Then we have created a storage account. Inside a storage account, we created a blob storage. We have uploaded all the files. Then we created a Azure AI search, Azure OpenAI option. After this three services provisioned, we'll upload all the files in the container part and we started indexing it. Okay. Finally, we deployed this bring your own data to your web application with the help of your Azure AI Studio. Then finally, we discussed about the responsible AI as well as ethical AI. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this. Then if you have any questions, you can reach out to my LinkedIn handle. And once again, I want to take a moment to thank Dan Natwick for providing this opportunity in the Azure Back to School prestigious platform. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay tuned. There are more sessions coming on the way for Azure Back to School series.